Hey, this is Kevin with Virtual Tech, and I'm going to be going over Windows 11, a full exhaustive tour. We're going to be going over some of the basic stuff and the more finer details. Starting with Microsoft's new visual language, there's an emphasis on semi-transparency. To the rounded corners of the pop-ups, even the radio buttons, it looks nice. There are new animations for interacting with apps, like maximizing windows and more noticeable minimizing animation. Though the biggest example is the new start menu. It seems that they have switched it from a dynamic element over to a static element. It appears that the only customization that is allowed is the content, the scaling, and the placement. You always have a 6x3 grid of pin apps at the top, and your recommended section underneath that can show you three things: recently installed, most used apps, as well as recently opened files. You can choose which of these three are visible or hidden. They always appear in this section and they don't have their own tabs. And even if you disable all three options, this section will remain with a link. To enable them in the settings, in my opinion, is quite lazy programming. But it looks nice, so I won't be too critical. You can't resize the start menu or change how many icons appear. It always looks the same besides the apps you decide to pin, and the color based on your theme and background. Your account options look like this, and your power options look like this. Your programs list is moved over to this button here, and now looks like this. Also, you can have multiple pages of pin apps. Personally, my favorite is the Snaps layout. All you have to do is hover over the maximize button for a couple seconds, and it will show you a bunch of screen layouts. Then you can click to add your windows as one, like the fancy Zones app. The next big change is the addition of widgets. You get a little bit of finance, weather, news, and sports. It's customizable in terms of size and placement. And what you see is based on MSN, but that's not the worst part. You actually have to be logged into your Microsoft account to even enable them, which is a big no-no. I don't support Microsoft locking down features to people that log in. I really appreciated the previous versions of Windows that allowed you to create an account without a Microsoft account, with the exception of the Windows paid store app, like Forza and HEVC video codec. Most of the stuff is on Steam now, and you can use the VLC player. You can feasibly use a computer without even logging in. Using a Microsoft account increases impossible telemetry and requires a password login. It's just not worth the hassle. So when it says continue with limited experience, if you don't need an MSN feed, you won't have a limited experience. But in better news, there is no more forced Cortana. So that's good. The Cortana app remains, but the Windows setup and taskbar is not using anymore. The search option remains, but you can just type in the start menu. Really, the search button is redundant for people with muscle memory. Speaking of useful voice assistants, unlike Cortana, Microsoft implemented native multiple voice assistant support, which will allow voice assistants besides Cortana to function natively on Windows. I think you can already set up Alexa to a certain extent, but seeing the Google Assistant on the taskbar would be really appreciated. Being able to control smart lights or play music on Google Voice really would be the only reason why I would use a voice assistant on the PC. If you have multiple physical monitors, Windows will try to place apps in more natural places and reset them when you reconnect or disconnect secondary monitors. Speaking of monitors, if yours is HDR, then Windows will take a feature from Xbox, then attempt to convert SDR content to HDR content. But they still haven't fixed the washed out look on 8-bit certified HDR panels, like my LG B7 and the Aeon Ultra Super Ride here in the studio, even though the panels have 800 nits and 400 nits respectively. On the topic of Xbox feature, the Direct Storage API requires an NVMe SSD to boost gaming performance. Windows will copy files from the RAM to the GPU memory. This is similar but different from NVIDIA's implementation, which features the Game API telling the GPU to load files directly from the SSD to the GPU memory and decompress them without utilizing the CPU at all. Keeping with gaming, Windows 11 has native support for DirectX 12 Ultimate API, although I'm pretty sure Windows 10 already had this feature as a feature of a previous update, and this becomes a little bit of a theme with Windows 11. Microsoft describes brand new features, but they have already been implemented in Windows 10. Two examples of this is spatial sound support and Wi-Fi 6E support. Microsoft has stopped including Skype, 3D Viewer, and Paint 3D on new installs. But of course, they're still available in the Microsoft Store. Speaking of, they have introduced a new store where you can install Android apps like TikTok and have them run on Windows without an emulator. Also, another alleged feature is the ability to install Android app packages, also known as APKs, but this functionality wasn't working in our insider copy. However, a new installer that is working on our build is the WinGit Package Manager, which allows you to install an app with no hassles. It's kind of satisfying. You can use WinGit Search to find programs in public CDN, and you can get WinGit Install to download and install without a single click in most cases. Speaking of command lines, Windows is transitioning to the new Windows Terminal, which is a single app that allows you to run PowerShell, Command Prompt, and even Linux subsystems. It's seamless and it looks very modern. It allows multiple tabs. Overall, very nice. Windows 11 feature updates will be released once per year instead of quarterly, and still will receive monthly quality update. Tablet mode has been replaced with S mode, and apparently it's a whole new version of Windows, which only runs Windows Store apps, but even more importantly for touch devices running Windows 11. A swipe keyboard, finally. Microsoft has also removed a few features that nobody ever uses or should use, like Internet Explorer, the app and file history timeline, and Wallet, which really begs the question, why did Windows ever have these things in the first place? Windows also has a new setup memory or out-of-the-box experience if you prefer. Finally, we have a few changes to finish up. Hardware scheduling is enabled by default. Big Little CPUs seems to be properly optimized. You can move the taskbar to the left so it's not forced to be in the middle if you like that. The search menu will try to add experiences to the search, like if you search for the weather or the calculator. New sounds in Windows, very soft and zen. New wallpapers, new Windows logos, new icons, added padding in Windows Explorer by default. Finally, moving over more web executables to Microsoft Edge and Edge View 2. Teams is Edge View based instead of Electron based. Electron is Chromium based. Alright, so that concludes our video. That was all the differences and new features in Windows 11. Be sure to subscribe and like all our videos. It takes us a lot of work to put this stuff together, so we expect you to at least subscribe and like our videos, and we will be bringing out more content sooner than later. Have a good one.
Thanks for visiting our channel. Virtual Tech's mission statement is to assist as many YouTubers as possible in addressing their Mac, PC, and mobile device issues. We actually respond to the text messages we receive. So if you have any nagging questions relating to computer or mobile device issues, please text Tech Issue to 818-732-9142, and we will promptly release a video on our channel with your question addressed. If you want us to keep providing free content, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and like our videos. You can also donate to our channel by looking in the YouTube description of all our videos. If you would like to join our team in creating video content, text Content Creator Job, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks, and enjoy our content.